Hello, I'm Michael Gale with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and I'm joined here today in the studio with Dan Ashe. He's the Deputy Director for Policy for the service and also President Obama's nominee to be the Director. Dan, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for all of your leadership in the service and for the support of the Conserving the Future vision process. So thank you and welcome.
Great to be here.
Now, Dan, you were intimately involved in the sort of last time we did this for the refuge system. You know, there was a lot of great effort in the late 90s to craft a vision for the refuge system on the heels of the Refuge Improvement Act. Why is now the time to craft a renewed vision? Has much changed in the past 10 years or so?
Well, there's a lot that's changed in the last 10 years, Michael. I think given the things that we're learning about the world, the changing demographics of the world as a whole, but within the U.S., not just the number of people in the country, but the changing ethnic and cultural diversity within the country, the great challenges that we're dealing with water allocation and climate change and invasive species, water scarcity. I think that right now is a great time to look at the vision, our vision for the National Wildlife Refuge System.
For folks outside of the refuge system program in the Fish and Wildlife Service who are very much encouraged to be part of this vision process, why is this important for them?
What we really need to think about is not refuges as points on a map or even as a confederation of places that we manage, but as a system of lands that's designed to help us accomplish something. And so as we think about, we're all employees of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and so we're all responsible for the mission of the organization. And so the opportunity to really get engaged in thinking about the future of the refuge system and helping the organization design the future for the National Wildlife Refuge System is really an incredible opportunity to do something positive for conservation.
There are folks that we depend on greatly in our partners. Can you talk about what their role is in this vision process and why it's important for them to engage?
I think we've seen certainly over the last, the entire history of the National Wildlife Refuge System, but certainly over the last few decades how important partners are for us, and we've seen the growth of the Friends movement within the refuge system and the importance of strong Friends groups in protecting and helping us to manage and get the resources that we need to do our job. The degree to which we're involved with our state partners in management, both joint management of state wildlife management areas, but also joint management of the wildlife that cross refuge boundaries and that we're jointly accountable for. Mm-hmm. So working with our partners is essential to a vision for the refuge system in the future. And so having the opportunity to get our partners engaged and really help us define that vision is very important.
If you had a message to give to the next generation based on your experience in your career or sort of your vision for the future, what would that message be for the next generation?
The message is really one of dealing with challenge. And I think the service has always been an organization that has stepped up to deal with challenge, whether it was the Dust Bowl, the pesticides and contaminants in the 1950s and 60s, the dramatic loss of wetlands in the 1970s and 80s, species endangerment. Now we have climate change, invasive species, wildlife disease, these new emerging challenges that we need to be able to deal with. So coming into the organization now, I think it's a great opportunity to get engaged in these things, and this visioning process for the refuge system is that chance for that new generation of Fish and Wildlife Service employee to come in and say, and have a voice and really say, well, here's what I think the refuge system can be. Here's how I think the refuge system can help deal with these great challenges that we're going to be facing, because it's going to be their organization.
Well, Dan, thank you so much for the time that you spent here. And before I let you go, I was wondering if I could ask you, It's nice to get a sense of who our leadership are in terms of, what you do maybe outside of the office.
I have a family. I try to find time to spend with my family. I put a premium on that. We like to be outdoors. I'm a waterfowl hunter. During waterfowl season, I like to do that, although it's increasingly difficult to find the time. My father worked for the Fish and Wildlife Service, and so I grew up around the Fish and Wildlife Service, and during the summers when I was a young kid, we would follow my father around. He worked at that time in the Atlanta regional office. He was a realty specialist, and so he did most of the acquisition work at great refuges like Key Deer, Ding Darling, Merritt Island, Okefenokee, Yazoo, and so we would travel with him during the summertime to those places. That was pretty much what we did for vacation. And so it was just that opportunity to really be in the outdoors, to kind of understand the importance of conserving and managing great places like that. I think everybody in the organization is busy, but I think it's important for people in this profession to have a chance and look for ways to kind of be engaged in their local communities, have opportunity to get into the outdoors as well.
Well, thank you, Dan, so much again and for everything you do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael.